welcome back. Thank you guys so much. We are going to be talking about Hillsborough, New Jersey, and today we have Robert Webb with us, and Robert's going to be giving us the tea on this. Robert, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us a little bit more where you're originally from, if you've grown up in New Jersey, or how you made your way to New Jersey.
Yep. So born and raised, I've been actually in Hillsborough since I was 1 year old. And I lived there until this year. So until I was 33. So yeah, I went to school in upstate New York, but other than that, I've been in central New Jersey my entire life.
Excellent. Okay, so you are locally grown and bred. Okay, cool. So we have a native locals here. So I'm excited to talk about this. Like in terms of like location for where you guys are. I understand. We'll just like throw it on the map right here, but yeah, talk us through a little bit about like location wise and where you guys are near.
Definitely. So most people probably won't know Hillsborough, New Jersey if you're not from the area. So what I always tell people is they either know one of two things. They either know where Princeton, New Jersey is, and we're about 20 minutes north of Princeton, or they know Rutgers football, and we're about 20 minutes west of Rutgers. So I've been to the Rutgers games. I've been to downtown Princeton, kind of grew up going to those two things. So if you have an idea of where those are in central New Jersey, I'm kind of right between them, a little bit north in between them.
Awesome. Okay. So growing up in New Jersey, how was that? How was that growing up for you? Like that whole experience?
Yeah, it was interesting. I went through the K through 12. Yeah, I made it past 8th grade. So it was, I really got a firsthand look. And when you're a kid, you don't appreciate the school system. You definitely appreciate a lot more as an adult, and especially in the real estate industry. But growing up here was very eventful. There's definitely a lot of people and a lot of things to do around. So it really wasn't very dull. Hillsborough itself didn't used to be as kid-friendly. There wasn't as much to do as there is today. So growing up, it was a lot more kind of being outside with friends, sports, stuff like that. Whereas today, the kids growing up today have a lot more to do, a lot more accessibility, which has been great to watch the town grow. But overall, it was a great school district to go through. It was a great town to grow up in. It was very family oriented. A lot of kids in my class. I think I had about 500 or 600 kids in my class. So definitely a lot of people to kind of get to know throughout the years.
Yeah. And what do you mean by you mentioned it's become more friendly towards for kids, things to do and stuff?
Yeah, you've just kind of seen a lot of people move to town. That has kind of brought businesses to town to kind of cater to those families. More rec things to do for the kids, more businesses centered around families and kids and stuff like that. So definitely more kind of options instead of just going to another town or just doing sports or something like that.
Cool. Okay. And in terms of like, actually, let's dive into the local economy a little bit. Like
Sure.
for the area, what does that look like in terms of, companies in the area or just maybe even family businesses around the area?
So Hillsborough is definitely a lot more family business, small business oriented. We have a lot of major players in the surrounding central New Jersey areas. We have a very large pharmaceutical industry around us. But in terms of Hillsborough itself, it's a fair amount of local businesses, small businesses, sandwich places, restaurants, kind of like the sip and paint type of stuff. People kind of trying to do their own thing, which has been fantastic. So we still have a lot of the chains, but we definitely have a disproportionate amount of small businesses and people kind of doing their own thing in the community, which is fantastic.
Nice. Any favorite restaurants you would recommend in the Hillsborough area?
So if you're coming here, I would definitely recommend Old Man Rafferty's. If you want more of a sit-down meal, definitely a little bit more like mid-scale. If you're just passing through, I would recommend Cater to Fare or Just Subs as two of my favorite sandwich places. Awesome. I think all those would be an excellent choice.
Cool. Awesome. For the local economy, you mentioned pharmaceutical companies. Like, is that a lot of jobs in the area, or is they just produce pharmaceuticals in the area, or?
Yeah, like Merck is a huge employer down south a little bit. Bristol Myers Squibb is a huge employer, and there's probably some others. I'm not too intimately familiar, but I know we get a lot of relocation coming in and out of the area for the pharmaceutical industry. I wouldn't say it's a disproportionate player in the terms of like our economy is built on pharmaceuticals. We definitely have a lot of proximity to New York City and North Jersey, where there's just a whole array of industries and jobs available.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, you guys are like right there. Do you frequent New York at all from like, or what does that trip look like if you wanted to go to New York for yourself?
So the easiest way would be to get on the train line. We have two lines that run there. A line that doesn't go direct, you have to do a transfer. So what I normally do is drive to New Brunswick, where Rutgers is, and hop on the direct line. It's about a 15-minute train ride once you get there into the city. I've been kicking myself. I've been telling my friends I haven't been to the city since the very end of 2019. Obviously, the pandemic happened, and even though things kind of opened back up a year ago or so fully, I just haven't made the trip yet. But I'm dying to. I love exploring Manhattan. I actually have never been to Brooklyn. I'm dying to go to Brooklyn and see sights there.
Okay, and you'll have to record it and throw it on your channel or your social medias, because you have a solid YouTube channel. So it's like, yeah, make sure you check out Robert's channel. There'll be a description down below if you were interested to learn even more about the New Jersey area. So that's so nice that you have a train that just, yeah, that's great. It goes there.
Yeah. And they just announced like 3 days ago or something, they've been trying to put more lanes going from New Jersey to New York in for, I don't even know, 30 years or something. And they finally, New Jersey and New York just announced a partnership to finally fund it and start opening up the train lines to hopefully start getting those indirect lines more direct, start getting things faster. Because right now, one of the lines is sharing, and it's sharing between two different train lines, and they're trying to go back and forth at the same time. People have to wait. It's a nightmare. So this will hopefully open up a lot of accessibility into the city.
Yeah. It's basically like they want to open up another, like I guess in freeway terms, they're opening up another freeway lane.
Exactly.
Kind of a thing. That's fantastic. Let's go. I'm all for trains. I know it makes sense in the area that you're in, because the density for the population is a lot. It's a lot more dense. So tell us about that. So, because I always hear that, but like when you're actually living in it, what is that? How does it feel? How does it look for you?
So for Hillsborough specifically, I wouldn't say it's particularly dense. It's definitely trending in that direction with a lot of the building they're doing. It's becoming more high density apartments along 206, which is kind of our main strip. I think when people think of the density of New Jersey, they're often thinking of Union County, Bergen County, kind of the areas a lot closer to the city. So we're out in Somerset. You definitely can still get a little bit of land out here with your house. You don't have to be on top of other people if you don't want to be. There are definitely townhomes and apartments, just like any other place. But if you kind of want a mid-tier house, you can still get anywhere from a quarter acre to 1 acre, 2 acres of land. So it's not incredibly congested. Some towns in North Jersey are, but Hillsborough they've done a pretty good job of keeping space open.
Excellent. And what does something like that cost, like in terms of the range for prices for houses?
Yeah, so obviously, like any market, it's going to depend on what you're looking for. If you kind of want a starter home, it's going to tend to be a townhouse in Hillsborough or a condo. And for like a 2-bed, that's going to range anywhere from $275 kind of up to like $415. If you want a 3-bed, that's going to trend anywhere from like $350 up to $475. And then if you kind of want a starter home, 3-bed, smaller, 1,500 square feet, 1,800 square feet, that's going to run you anywhere from, I'd say, $450 to $625. But kind of the bread and butter of what people want, at least in this area, is a 4-bed, 2.5 bathroom, 2-car garage with a basement. And that can run you anywhere from $650, honestly, up to like $1.3 million, depending on the size you want. Yeah,
because it's plenty of space, plenty of like, you can park in the garage because it does snow. Right? Correct? It snows where
yes. we get all 4 seasons here in New Jersey, and sometimes we get them all in the same week.
Oh, right.
Always fun.
What is What does that look like for you? Or just
I mean, if you ever like turn on the news here, it's especially in like March, you can really get like an 85-degree day, followed by like 40 and windy, followed by snow, followed by like 75 degrees. Like it is just crazy sometimes in the kind of coming out of winter is where you see it the most, but sometimes even going into winter in the fall, you kind of get all four seasons in a week.
got it. Interesting. I've never experienced that. I mean, Southern California. It's so different here. Okay, how would you describe the culture of New Jersey and Hillsborough and just kind of the area and people and what it feels like to live there?
I think the culture has shifted as since I was a kid. We've definitely introduced a lot more diversity in the past 10 to 15 years, which has been really refreshing. Kind of getting a real mix of people coming into it. And that's something that a good school district really attracts is all types of people that are really just seeking the best for their kids, for their children. And it really brings in a lot of different people. So I've definitely seen it shift in the diversity, which has been amazing. And in terms of like kind of just the helpfulness, I would say Hillsborough, compared to a lot of other towns, gets a reputation for being very helpful overall. Of course, you always have your edge cases and your bad apples, but on the Facebook groups, people are always super, super willing to help out, to accommodate. There's a lot of like local charities that run and really provide a lot to families that are in need or going through tough times. So I would say that overall, it's a very generous community.
Oh, that's so good. That's excellent to hear. In terms of the diversity that's been, I guess, more integrated in the area, has it been reflected in the food in terms of
Yes.
options that are available? Let's talk about food.
Yes.
I love food, so
Okay. We all need to eat, right?
yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm kind of going off my head here. We have a new halal place that opened. We have an Indian supermarket that opened probably about 2 years ago. And then not quite Hillsborough, but we're just south of a town called Somerville, which is our county seat, and that has some incredibly diverse food. And that's starting to bleed over into Hillsborough as well. Thai food, Chinese food, fusion food. We really have pretty much anything you could want. And then the running joke at Hillsborough is we also have like 14 pizzerias. So you're never going to go, you're never going to go starving for pizza in Hillsborough.
Okay, there's always an option available during dinner time for pizza. Cool. For flying internationally, what airport do you typically take from the area?
So if you're going to go international, it's going to be Newark International. I think it's ERW, one or the other. It's probably about 45 minutes away, just up Route 287 or 202. So if you were to leave Hillsborough, yeah, probably about 45 minutes by car, which is really your only option. I guess you could do the train. I don't know how simple that would be. Most people will drive.
Yeah, drive or take a Uber or Lyft to
Yes.
the area. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what I do.
Yeah. And then local airports if you're flying domestically?
So we have one in Trenton, New Jersey, which is probably about 45 minutes south. It's going to be much less crowded. It's going to be much more budget airline. And then we do have one over in Pennsylvania as well that I've never flown out of, but probably also about an hour. And then speaking internationally, if you, for whatever reason, Newark doesn't work for you, you can always head into New York and go off like JFK or something like that if you had to.
Got it. Excellent. Yeah, some people, they frequently travel, so that's good to know.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, I know, right? Same. For like, healthcare in schools, we touched a little bit on schools, but in terms of healthcare, nearest hospitals, people kind of frequent, or maybe that's noteworthy in the area. What are some notable places?
Yeah, so Hillsborough doesn't have a hospital, but pretty much the 4 surrounding towns from us do in any direction. So if you were to go north, you hit Somerville. There's a Robert Wood Johnson there. If you were to go east into New Brunswick, about 20 minutes, there's St. Peter's there. If you were to go south, which I visited a year and a half ago myself when I had COVID, you have the Princeton Hospital. And then if you were to go west, you have out in Flemington, you have another hospital. So you're pretty much within 20 to 30 minutes of 4 hospitals here in Hillsborough.
Great. Okay, surrounded by good facilities. It sounds like
Yes.
excellent, excellent. What about like you don't like about maybe the area?
I don't think I would be alone in saying they're doing a lot of building, kind of along 206. We're introducing a lot of condos and apartments right along the main corridor, and that itself isn't that bad. But it's really starting to cause some water issues in terms of like where does the water go when you continuously build up concrete. Our sewer system hasn't really been able to handle that super well, and they just continue to keep building. I don't know if you guys have this in other states, but in New Jersey, we have a lot of affordable housing laws that we have to comply with, which leads to kind of the dense apartments and stuff.
Mhm.
And they only build 10 to 20% of those as low income, the rest are market value. So in order for us to meet our housing quota, which I'm not against, but we're only building 10% of those and the other 90 are getting built as market value, where I wish we could just build 100% to help the low and moderate income people, but also avoid some of the overbuilding that's leading to a lot of the flooding.
Flooding. Do you mean like when it rains a lot, or do you mean like within buildings, or?
No, when it rains a lot, as we've built up the concrete, for these structures, the water now has less places to go. So it's going into the sewer system, but the sewer system was only ever built to handle so much. So it's really critical that as they're building these projects, we're having engineers, make sure that the water is going the correct way. It's not going into people's houses. And so far, that's been relatively true. Unlike some of our neighboring towns like Boundbrook or South Boundbrook or Manville, where they have a lot of actual flooding issues coming into people's homes, it's just kind of becoming a concern that it could happen here in Hillsborough if, again, they don't build intelligently with the right engineering in place.
Right. It's like you can see it on the horizon. You're like, hey guys, there might be a problem here. Like, if we keep going about on this path, kind of, and in a way, okay, that's really interesting actually, because it's very unique to specifically to Hillsborough for the
Yes.
area.
Yep.
Yeah, sewage is super important. Maintaining things, as our whole country has found out, with a lot of different incidents, unfortunately for our country. So yeah, I'm all for the being proactive on those types of things to prevent any kind of future damage. That's
Absolutely.
that's
And people's hard-earned investments. A lot of people have a lot of money into these homes, and they want to protect that.
yeah, absolutely. What do you love about Hillsborough? Like,
I actually do love the food.
Oh, okay, cool.
The food and kind of just the general atmosphere. I've been lucky enough to call it home for a long time. It feels very warm and welcoming. And kind of in contrast to my previous statement, I do like some of the building they're doing and kind of introducing, new things to the town. Hillsborough is very interesting in the sense that they've done an amazing job of preserving a lot of it. It used to be all farmland. And about a third of Hillsborough is developed kind of right in the center, but we still have a mountain that you can go hiking at. It takes up another third. It's called the Sourland Mountains. And then we actually still have a fair amount of farmland. You won't really see it unless you go look for it, but you can still get acres and acres of land if you want to on kind of some of the back roads, and really enjoy, I guess, what you would call a simpler time lifestyle with a house and kind of, I don't know, it's just a really unique situation where you can kind of go from almost a different lifestyle within the same town.
And what was the name of the mountain range that you mentioned?
The Sourland Mountains.
The Sourland Mountains. Excellent. And in terms of farmland, what kind of farmland is it? Like apple groves, or is it like cows, or is it like when you drive by?
So I would say I definitely don't 100% know, because it's not really my area of expertise, but we do have a couple farms they grow some small crops, and then they have a lot of animals. So like Nor's farm, for example, like you can take your family there and you can see animals and pet them, and they'll do pumpkins and stuff like that. So a little bit more like community interactive farms as well. But I'm sure that there are other ones that are, again, growing crops. I'm not super familiar with that though.
No, yeah, that's all right. So like more like seasonal kind of farms where is it like a tourist, like where locals kind of come and enjoy the place?
Some of them, again, Norris Farm specifically, I know does that. Some others might.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, I was wondering, I was like, did you ever go cow tipping when you were in high school? No, no.
No. Oh man, no, didn't happen, right?
Yeah. No, I was just curious. I've always thought when I was younger, well, I mean, Southern California, there's not really cows, so I was like, that would be fun. But then I heard it's kind of like not good for the cows, so I'm like, oh, never
No,
mind.
it's not.
I'm sorry.
But funny enough, that reminded me, I had a client from California years ago, and I've grown up with deer my whole life. Everyone around here hates them because they'll eat your plants. And they're a nuisance, but I'm taking this guy out showing houses from California, and I spent 15 minutes taking a picture of this deer with him because he was like, oh my God, like he's just staring at it. He's so excited. He's like texting his family. It was definitely a shock for me.
Yeah, we're not used to them. It's like it's a rare. We only see them at Disneyland or on the TV screen. Bambi, that's so cool. Yeah, culturally, it's so different. So there is wildlife in the area.
Yeah. And then like you'll get reports of like foxes, stuff like that from time to time. I've had foxes fall asleep in my backyard growing up.
Wow.
Very, very like interesting to see. Yeah.
That's different. Was that during the winter time or springtime?
Springtime.
They're hanging out. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Excellent. Well, I guess if someone's thinking about moving to the area, what are, I guess, some things you might recommend for them?
Recommend in terms of kind of checking out or kind of the first time visiting?
Yeah, like let's just say like I was gonna go visit the area. I want to get Airbnb. Should I get an Airbnb in a certain location or type of thing?
So I don't know how crazy Airbnb is around here specifically. There probably are some options. I would say most people are going to opt to stay in a hotel kind of around this area. In terms of activities,
hotel's the way to go though for like okay yeah, because some, like, I went to Guanajuato and we stayed at Airbnb and was like, we should have stayed at a hotel. So we, like, going back, I would recommend for someone to be like, just stay at the hotel. Yeah,
I would as well for here. And then in terms of kind of checking stuff out, if you want to kind of do Hillsborough specifically, we have a preserved nature area called Duke's Farm. I have to look it up. It's hundreds of acres of just beautifully preserved land. They're super into like conserving it and being friendly to the environment and kind of being very progressive in that. And it is just stunning. I was just there the other day with a friend of mine walking it, and it's definitely a sight to see. In terms of kind of visiting the greater area, we have, if you want to shop, we have Bridgewater Mall just north of us. We have actually the very first outlet just west of us in Flemington, probably about 20 minutes, and they're working on revitalizing that. In Hillsborough, we have Flounders Brewing, which is always fun to go in and take a look at. I'm trying to think. Again, it's a lot of like smaller things, kind of like restaurants, exploring the parks.
Yeah.
And it's really what Hillsborough is kind of known for.
Okay. All right. Excellent. And make sure, visit just maybe, well, I guess if you want to visit in the winter, you can, but like, how much is it like for like, you have to have like chains and stuff like for your car and stuff in the area, or is it just the snow is like, it's manageable with regular car?
Yeah, it's manageable for sure, outside of, some insane blizzard. And I think the most insane blizzard I've ever experienced was back in like 96 or something. Ever since I've been driving for, 10, 15 years or whatever, it's been relatively manageable outside of, a handful of times where it's just like, I'll just stay inside today. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, it's pretty easy. I'm sure you've seen the memes where it's like, a quarter of an inch of snow in Texas shuts down the state. Meanwhile, in New Jersey, it's like this high on your car and you're driving down the freeway.
Yeah. No, I have seen that. Okay, awesome. Well, Robert, thank you so much for this info, and we'll throw your information up top down below for someone to if you guys are interested in learning more about the area, definitely recommend checking out Robert's channel. And also you can always just message what's good for you, text, Facebook?
Either or. I think you'll link my Facebook, but my number will be there too. You can text me, email me. Whatever's best for you, I can usually respond to.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you again. And till next time, guys.